Assalamu alaikum students. I am Shiza Noor, your biology teacher, and I welcome you all to DPS online classes. Students, at the end of today's lesson, you all will be able to describe the basic structure and function of spinal cord. That is a second important part of central nervous system. You will be able to explain the peripheral nervous system and its different types. You will also be able to define the term reflex section along with its example. And at the end, you all will be able to summarize the division of whole nervous system. So let's start our topic. That is coordination and control. This chapter is already under discussion. In the previous lecture, you have studied about brain, which is an important part of central nervous system. And in today's lecture, we will discuss about spinal cord and peripheral nervous system. The main contents of our topic are spinal cord, peripheral nervous system, and reflex section. So let's start our topic. Spinal cord is a tubular bundle of nerves, which means it consists of different nerves that are arranged in the form of a bundle. It starts from the brain stem and extends to the lower back, right from here, brain stem. As you have studied in the previous lecture, that the medulla oblongata, pons and midbrain connect the rest of brain to spinal cord. They are collectively called brain stem. So we can say that spinal cord starts from the brain stem and ends at the lower back. It is covered by meninges, the vertebral column. Meninges are the layers that protect the brain, and here they also protect the spinal cord along with vertebral column, which means cervical vertebra, thoracic vertebra, lumbar vertebra. They surrounds and protects the spinal cord. So their main function is to protect the spinal cord. We can also say that spinal cord is the continuation of medulla oblongata, because medulla oblongata lies just on the top of the spinal cord. So we can say it is actually the continuation of medulla oblongata that extends to the lower back, and we call it spinal cord. So let's discuss the structure of spinal cord. In this picture, you can see the structure of spinal cord. According to this picture, the outer region of spinal cord is made of white matter. The colors in this picture are differentiating the white matter with the other one. So the outer region of spinal cord, which means this area, is white matter, which consists of myelinated axons passing to and from the brain or different segments of the spinal cord. So this myelinated axon is an important part of neuron, which is surrounded by fatty layer called myelin sheath. That is why it is called myelinated axons. And their basic function is to conduct the nerve impulses away from the cell bodies. So this is the first part of the spinal cord, white matter. Now what is the other one? The gray matter. So you can see in this picture that the central region is a butterfly shaped structure. It apparently looks like a butterfly. So this central region is butterfly shaped that surrounds the central canal as well, this area. It is made of gray matter, which consists of nerve, cell bodies and interneuron. The cell bodies and interneuron are also very important because the nucleus and the cytoplasm of a neuron is located in its cell bodies. So this is an overall structure of spinal cord that consists of white matter with myelinated axons and the gray matter with neuron cell bodies. Now we will discuss about the nerves that originate from the spinal cord. And these nerves are also called spinal nerves. There are total 31 pairs of spinal nerves that arises along the spinal cord, right here. All these spinal nerves are mixed nerve because each contain axons of both sensory and motor neuron. As you can see in the previous picture, that it consists of both sensory and motor neuron. So these are called mixed nerves having axons of both sensory and motor neurons. Now at the point where spinal nerve arises from the spinal cord, this point, it consists of two roots of spinal nerves that are named as dorsal nerve root and ventral nerve root. If we talk about the length of spinal cord, it is roughly 40 centimeters long and about as wide as your thumb for most of its length, which means it is 40 centimeters long, having width of your thumb. Now let's discuss about the two roots of spinal nerve, that is dorsal and ventral nerve root. Both these roots unite and form one mixed spinal nerve, and both these roots are very important. First of all, the dorsal root, which is present here, it contains sensory axons and a ganglion where cell bodies are located. Ganglion or ganglia is actually the cluster of cell bodies. So this dorsal root area consists of sensory axons along with ganglia or ganglion. Now if we talk about the other part or the other root, which is ventral root, it contains axons of motor neurons only. These are the two important roots: dorsal root, which consists of sensory neuron and ganglion, whereas the ventral root, which consists of motor neuron only. So students, this was all about the structure of spinal cord that consists of white matter and gray matter. It contains two important roots, dorsal and ventral root. Dorsal root consists of sensory neuron and ganglion which receive the messages from receptor. Ventral root consists of motor neuron that transfer the impulse or message towards the effectors. And here is the interneuron that consists of dendrites and axons, and it stimulates the motor neurons. Now we will discuss about the two important functions of spinal cord in our body that it performs. Number one, it serves as a link between body parts and brain. Spinal cord transmits nerve impulse from body parts to brain and from brain to body parts. That is why it is a link between brain and other body part. It receives the messages from body parts and then transfer them to brain. Similarly, it receives the messages from brain and then transfer it to the body part. Therefore, it serves as a link between both these two. Number two, spinal cord also acts as a coordinator which receives the messages from receptor and then transfer it to effector. And it is responsible for some simple reflexes that take place in our body. So these are the two important functions of spinal cord. Now we will discuss about the second important content of our topic, that is peripheral nervous system or PNS. Peripheral nervous system is composed of nerves and ganglia. Ganglia are the clusters of neuron cell bodies just outside the CNS. We have discussed about CNS, central nervous system, which consists of brain and spinal cord. And just outside the CNS, there are some clusters of neuron or cell bodies called ganglion. Nerves arise or lead to brain and spinal cord because they are present all over the body. So they are named as cranial and spinal nerves. The nerves that lead to the brain are called cranial nerves, whereas the nerves that are associated with spinal cord are called spinal nerves. Humans have 12 pairs of cranial nerves, while 31 pairs of spinal nerves are present. On the other hand, all spinal nerves are mixed nerves because we have studied in the structure of spinal cord that spinal nerves are mixed nerves, which means they have axons of both sensory and motor neurons. So the cranial and spinal nerves, they both have two pathways in which they conduct the message, that is sensory pathway and motor pathway. Now what is sensory pathway? It conducts the impulses from receptor to central nervous system, while the motor pathway conducts the impulses from central nervous system to effectors. Is the sensory pathway in which the receptors receive the message from stimuli, and with the help of sensory neuron they transfer it to the CNS or brain. Now the motor pathway is the pathway in which CNS or brain transfer the message with the help of motor neuron to the effectors, which produces a particular response. So these are the two important pathways that are produced by cranial and spinal nerves. Now motor pathway has two other important systems that are named as somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. First of all, what is somatic nervous system? It is responsible for the conscious and voluntary actions. What is meant by voluntary actions? Voluntary action is an action that is consciously performed by the person. He has full control over it. It means it is the action that is performed by our own will. It includes all of the motor neuron that conduct impulses from central nervous system to the skeletal muscle. As you can see in this picture, it consists of somatic motor neurons that transfer the impulses from brain or central nervous system to all the skeletal muscles. So this is the somatic nervous system. The other one, that is autonomic nervous system, is responsible for the activities which are not under conscious control or our own will. We can say these are involuntary actions. It consists of motor neurons that send impulses to cardiac muscles, smooth muscles and glands. So it transfers the impulses from CNS or brain with the help of motor pathway to the cardiac muscles or heart or other smooth muscles and glands that are present in our body. Autonomic nervous system further consists of two important systems, that is sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. So first of all, what is sympathetic nervous system? It prepares the body to deal with any emergency situation or stress condition. This is often called the fight or flight response, in which you have to act very immediately. During an emergency situation, this system takes necessary actions. For example, it dilates the pupils, it accelerates the heartbeat, it increases the breathing rate as well, and inhibits the digestion. It also relaxes the bronchi during respiration. It can inhibit the salivation process. It can stimulate the glucose production and release and many others. So this is all about sympathetic nervous system. Now we will discuss about the parasympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system takes action when stress ends. It is completely opposite to the sympathetic nervous system because it relaxes our body or it normalizes all the function. For example, it causes the pupils to contract to promote the digestion. It slows down the rate of heartbeat and breathing rate. It will stimulate the saliva flow. It can contract the bronchi. So these are the some of the important functions that are performed by parasympathetic nervous system. So these are the two important divisions of autonomic nervous system. Now we will summarize the division of whole nervous system, that how many parts it consists of. Nervous system is first of all divided into central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord. Brain in your body receives and processes sensory information. It can initiate the responses. It stores the memories, generates your thoughts, ideas, emotions in your body. Spinal cord conducts the signal to and from the brain, and it controls the reflex activities. The second one, peripheral nervous system, consists of cranial and spinal nerves, which are actually the mixed nerves having both motor and sensory neuron. The motor neuron conducts the impulses from central nervous system to muscles and glands in your body. The sensory neurons conducts the impulse from sensory organs or receptors to the central nervous system. This motor neuron further consists of two important nervous systems, that is somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Somatic nervous system controls voluntary movements that are under our own control, whereas the autonomic nervous system controls the involuntary responses that are not under our own control. Autonomic nervous system is further divided into sympathetic division and parasympathetic division. Sympathetic division, which means any emergency situation or stress condition, or we can say fight or flight condition, and parasympathetic division means to normalize, to rest or digest. So this was all about the nervous system. Now we will discuss about the last content of our topic, that is reflex action. The peripheral nervous system sends impulses to muscles and glands, as we have discussed above. Two types of action or responses result due to these impulses. Number one, the higher centers of brain control the conscious actions of voluntary actions. Number two, when impulses are not passed to the higher centers of brain, it results in responses which are not under our own control. It means either the impulse will produce a voluntary result or it will produce an involuntary result. Sometimes the involuntary response that is produced by the central nervous system is very quick, and that quick response is called reflex action. And the pathway that is followed by the nerve impulse for producing this quick response or reflex action is called reflex arc. Now we will discuss an example of reflex action. So students, it doesn't matter how clever we are, we will always pull our hand away from the flame without thinking about it, because it is natural. Whenever you touch a hot or cold object, you quickly pull away your hand. So withdrawal of hand after touching a hot object is an example of reflex action. And spinal cord will obviously act as a coordinator here. Now what happens? When you touch a hot object, the heat from the hot object stimulates the temperature and pain receptors in your skin. And as a result, a nerve impulse is generated, which is carried by sensory neurons to the interneurons of spinal cord, which passes the impulse to the motor neurons, and at the end, motor neuron passes the impulse to the muscles of arm, which allow you to pull away your hand. And as a result, the muscle contracts to withdraw your hand. And during all this activity, other interneurons transmit the nerve impulse up to the brain as well, so that the person become aware of pain and what happened. This is also very important. So the person may get an idea that touching the hot object is painful and dangerous. Here is a picture of reflex action. Whenever a person touches the hot object, the heat from the hot object stimulates the receptors of heat and pain in his skin, and a nerve impulse is generated. This nerve impulse, with the help of sensory neuron, is transferred to the interneurons of spinal cord. The interneurons will transfer the message to the motor neuron, and some of the interneuron will transfer the message to the brain as well to make the person aware of the danger. The motor neuron will transfer the message to effector or muscles in the arm, which will contract and allow the person to withdraw his hand. So this is all about the reflex action, which is basically a quick response of involuntary action. That is why it is called reflex action, and the pathway which is followed by it is called reflex arc. So students, this was all about today's lecture. Now we will assess our lecture with the help of some multiple choice questions. Number 1, number of pairs of cranial nerves in human are 10, 12, 14 or 16. The correct answer is 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Number 2. Which nervous system is involuntary in action? Somatic, motor, sensory, or autonomic? The correct answer is autonomic nervous system is involuntary in action. Number 3. The length of spinal cord is about 40 nanometer, 40 millimeter, 40 centimeters, or 40 inches. The correct answer is 40 centimeter long. Number 4. Peripheral nervous system or PNS consists of ganglia, nerves, both A and B, or spinal cord. The correct answer is both A and B, which means ganglia and nerves. Now we will discuss about some short question answers related to this topic. Number 1. What is meant by gray matter of spinal cord? You will write the definition of gray matter and its composition that we have discussed in our lecture. You can also draw the diagram of spinal cord in which you will represent the gray matter of spinal cord. Number 2. Write two functions of spinal cord. The two functions that we have studied above. The link between brain and other body parts and as a coordinator. You will write both these two functions. Number 3. What is somatic nervous system? You will write the definition of somatic nervous system with one or two examples. Number 4. Differentiate between sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. You will write at least 3 differences in both these nervous systems by giving some examples as well. Number 5. Define reflex action and reflex arc. You will only write the definition of reflex action and reflex arc, which we have studied in our lecture. Now let's discuss some long question answers related to this topic. Number 1. Describe the structure and function of spinal cord. In this question, you will write the complete structure of spinal cord along with its diagram, and you will also write the two main functions of spinal cord. Number 2. Explain the peripheral nervous system and its types with function. You will write the PNS definition and all its parts like somatic and autonomic nervous system and the further division of autonomic nervous system into sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. And you will also write their functions. Number 3. What is reflex action? Explain. You will write the definition of reflex action, reflex arc, and you will write the complete example of reflex action. So students, this was all about today's lecture. I hope you are clear with all the concepts. Thank you so much for watching this video. Allah Hafiz.